Denver now returns home with their chance to advance in a Game 7.
I think playing on their home floor in a mile-high city, they find a way to get it done.
Gets a pick, head fake on the three, gets down the lane, and threw it home with the right-handed tomahawk. A mean lob to Damian Lillard.
Can Dame Time silence the Nuggets just like he did the Thunder? Might have to.
Hey, what's going on, man? Now you good? How you doing, man?
Best 2 words in sports, Game 7, and we get to say it twice. Starting here in the Mile High City as Denver looks to win their second Game 7 these playoffs right here at the Pepsi Center. And with that, we welcome you into Hoop Streams. I'm Cassidy Hubbard, alongside our NBA champion, Kendrick Perkins.
Hey, Cass,
back at it again.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be back.
And for the first time, we got the one and only Peter Rosenberg.
Also wants an NBA champion.
No.
Yeah.
Should be winning.
Actually, this
Well,
man,
you know, he's part of the Celtic family.
this man gave me my one NBA championship as an adult. So
Okay, there we go. See, we're already a family. A lot to get to today, including obviously this Game 7 between the Blazers and Nuggets. But first, we got to talk about the news last night, and Woj reporting that the Lakers and Frank Vogel have agreed upon a 3-year deal, and that Jason Kidd will be a part of Frank Vogel's staff. Now, you played with LeBron James, Kendrick. What's your first initial reaction to that news?
Well, I like Frank. Frank Vogel. Coach Vogel, I had him in Boston. He was the assistant. But I still think the Lakers dropped the ball with not hiring T. Lue. I still think T. Lue was the better man for that job.
What do you think, Peter?
Honestly, what I think it's amazing that we're on the verge of a Game 7 with this series that's been amazing, and everyone's been talking about the coaching search for a team that is not currently relevant beyond the fact that they have LeBron James. And it's kind of one of the underlying storylines of this series.
Yeah.
When are people going to start talking about how great Portland and Denver has been?
Absolutely.
Right. Look, the Lakers are trying to get back here. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2013. And to your point, you know who is here? The Blazers and Nuggets. And they walked into the arena today, and let's see how they walked in for this Game 7 in our segment called Walk It Out. And this is, Peter, where we basically critique everyone's gear. And let's see, we've got Dame Lillard.
Okay, Dame, I like that.
I like the collar.
I'm loving it.
It's a little chilly today in Denver, so need to wear a jacket.
Casual.
Relax.
Okay, and this with a nice little drip for the big man.
Very medium on top for his cancer.
Showing his physique.
Yes.
Okay. I see you, big canner.
T-skirt. It's borderline a T-skirt.
I like that.
CJ,
you know, CJ's been coming with the suits.
I got to tell you.
Sunday suit.
Classy.
Yeah, he's about his business.
This is a Sunday fit for CJ McCollum because it is a big-time
Love
game.
it, CJ.
For that man right there. And Jokic.
Look, he came to the game dressed in
different type of business
he
right
came in dressed like this.
Joker has not changed since the last game. He just put on a shirt.
Okay, Jamal, just
Jamal
simple.
looks like you guys, all black. All black
today.
everything.
Is he going to a funeral?
No. Are you guys?
I'm trying to be slim. Jamal
Game 7 is a funeral.
I had to give all the color today because you look very nice. But this is all black for you.
By the way,
you do. Marathon continues though. Another shout out to the late great Nipsey Hussle.
But Cassie, you got it too. We had to go all black. You had to stand out because it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to you.
First.
So
Happy
you
Mother's
had
Day
to
to all of
stand out. You had to
mothers out
bring the
there.
color.
Thank you, Perk. That's so sweet. I appreciate that. You know what's a really, really good present? 2 Game 7s. And look, we're coming to you live here on Twitter. Send us your comments in the Periscope comment section below, or use the hashtag HoopStreams on Twitter. You know who has those active Twitter fingers? Our guy Perk. In fact, let's look at some of the gems that you shot off recently. Segment we like to call How Original Perk's tweets. So this one is from Thursday night, apparently a rainy Thursday night, and you go, damn, rain got me sleepy and we had to, can't even stay up and watch the game and tweet about it. Every time I wake up, though, Dame knocking down a tray ball from 60 feet. Then you tweeted, damn, I fell asleep on the game last night. Looks like I missed some beef in the Portland-Denver game, huh? So tell us a little bit about what happened.
Yes, it was thunderstorming back down there in H-Town in Houston, Texas. So I'm dozing in and out the game. I'm like, man, I can't miss this game. And I keep falling asleep. I wake up, kept falling asleep, wake up. And every time I woke up, Dame was hitting the tray ball from half court.
17
I'm like,
third quarter points in that
I'm
game.
like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, I did that game, and I talked to him beforehand, and he told me he hasn't been able to really get a rhythm against this Nuggets team because they're obviously getting on him, up on the half court. But after the game, he goes, look, shoot, and I didn't let it get in my head. I wasn't pressing, and he showed out in that game. But look, this has been a really late series. Every game has been at 10:30 Eastern. This game is not that. So let's do a little segment we call While Perk Was Sleeping, where I ask you a couple trivia questions to get you guys, up to date on this series. Okay. So I'm going to test your knowledge. So while Perk was sleeping, who has led the Nuggets in 3-point percentage this series?
I gotta say the big joker.
I'm gonna go Jamal Murray.
Perk, you got it right. 10 of 20 for 50%. He's also averaging over 26 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists.
He's up in every category in the playoffs.
God bless America. That's special.
I mean,
Paul said he's the best player in the playoffs right now, but
what do you think about that?
I don't know. AP, I love you to death, but we can't really ride with y'all too much. You've been wrong on a lot of things.
Paul's been saying some things. Okay, we're going to do another one. While Perk was sleeping, who became the Blazers' third leading scorer in the series behind Dame and CJ? Peter.
While Perk was sleeping, and it's Cantor.
How about you?
I have to go with Rodney Hood.
He's got you 2 for 2. Rodney Hood, 16.2 points, a playoff career high he had in that Game 6 with 25.
And by the way, that's 2 games where when Hood steps up and scores, they end up getting a W.
And you said that before the show started.
Yeah, he could be the key today.
Look, and here's the thing, Rodney Hood, I mean, this is a resurrection of his career, really, in this series, because he was quiet in the first series against the Spurs, and of course we remember what happened last year with the Cavs.
Think about where he was a few months ago. He's waiting things out in Cleveland. You have no idea. Now you've built yourself up, and you were a meaningful part of a championship.
Talking about a true professional.
Oh, you know what? You just said 2 things about this guy right behind you, Paul Millsap.
Right.
He is the consummate pro and the veteran presence this Nuggets team really needs because of their lack of playoff experience. This is actually his 101st career playoff game, more than half or double, that's the right word, more than double the amount of his other teammates.
That's impressive.
And look at the stats of what he's done in the playoffs too. He has stepped up. It's not just that he's there for experience, he's leading with his play too.
Absolutely.
He'll also be a key today.
Okay, I got another one for you. Come on, Peter, you gotta get on the board here.
No, I don't want to. I'm kind of intentionally getting it wrong.
Pete, come on.
Okay, while Perk was sleeping, this player became the first Nugget with 30 points in consecutive playoff games since Carmelo Anthony in 2010. Let's give it to him for a seat.
Well, it's Jokic or Murray again, so we're playing this game again.
Okay.
I think Murray went for 30 that game.
Okay, what do you think?
I got to say it's Jokic. I got to go with the big joker again.
Okay. Peter on the board.
P, I knew Murray was tell you that
one. We got a game here,
But that speaks to how ill a tandem they have become.
Yes.
We are watching 2 new tandems on each of these teams that are incredible.
Something special to watch, by the way.
Yeah, he's averaging 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists in this series so far. All right, last one. See if we can, have it be a draw here, or if you're going to solidify this win, Perk.
I'll close out the series.
Okay.
Who used the word sassy best on this?
Okay, easy one. While Perk was sleeping, that's funny, right? Yeah. The Blazers recorded 3 30-point games in a single season for the first time, becoming the 5th Trailblazer to do so. Who is this Blazer?
Wait, this Trailblazer recorded
3 30-point games in a single postseason for the first time, becoming the 5th Trailblazer to do so.
Dame Lillard?
I have to agree, Dame Lillard.
Both of you guys are wrong. That was a trick, because I said for the first time, it's C.J. McCollum. Dame has done this 3 times and has 5 30-point games this postseason.
So I still won, though. I still beat you.
You crushed me. You still crushed. It was 2-1 and 1. 2-1. It was still a victory. You're an NBA champion, for God's sake.
Yeah, exactly. So we're caught up on this series. I mean, look, this has been one of the best series in the postseason.
Absolutely.
But again, It's been late. The star power may not be as big as, hey, Rockets Warriors, but this has been some good basketball. And speaking of the Warriors, they're sitting pretty. They don't play until Tuesday. That's when the Western Conference Finals kicks off. Of these two teams, who do you think matches up better with the Warriors, Burke?
Well, I think Denver will give the Warriors more problems just because of the big fella, and they have depth. Like Peter was saying, as far as with Denver, they got a lot of guys that could, I was telling Peter, they got a lot of guys that could come in off the bench and guard, but mainly because of Millsap and Jokic. I mean, big fella, because they dominate the paint, man. And right now, with Cousins being hurt and the lack of size that Golden State have, I think Denver will give them a harder challenge. But Portland, I think everybody want to see the Portland series against, because it would be a shootout.
That's what I was going to say. That the sexier series is getting the two best backcourts in basketball going up against each other. But to be honest, if that were to happen, matchup-wise, that ends up playing right into Golden State's hands.
Absolutely.
So I really think ultimately, while I would love to see Dame and CJ in the conference finals, I think that Jokic and Murray and the Nuggets provide a bigger challenge for Golden State. I do.
I agree.
Well, look, that Warriors Game 6 win had a lot of people talking, including Perk.
Yeah.
In fact, let's take a look at another one of Perk's tweets. And this one got a lot of people riled up. It says, if I'm Daryl Morey, it's only two people that's untouchable this summer for the Rockets. That's James Harden and PJ Tucker. No love for CP3? Well, explain.
No, listen. So if I'm Daryl Morey, it's only two people, and I wasn't just talking about the Rockets players, by the way. I was talking about coaches included. So at the end of the day, I think
all the way blow up.
Watch out,
all the way blow up. I think right now, the only two people that showed me that I would keep, if I'm a GM, I would keep James Harden, of course, and you got to keep PJ Tucker. I mean, PJ Tucker is the heart and soul of that Rockets team, and I wouldn't let him go. They made a major mistake this summer by letting Trevor Ariza walk, and I wouldn't let that same mistake happen with PJ Tucker.
I'm going to disagree with someone who knows much more than me about basketball.
Talk to me, Peter.
If Houston doesn't come up flat, and they ultimately, it seems like they were lulled to sleep by the fact that KD was hurt, and they came up flat. If they don't come up flat, this is a team that could be on their way to the NBA championship. I feel like the standards have changed where now we look at blowing up teams if they can't win the finals. This is a team that's very, very close. Do you have to blow this whole thing up?
Plus, we don't know what's going to happen with the Warriors this
but you
summer.
got to look at the ages, man. You got to look at that. This is not a young team.
No.
I mean, how many years we going to keep giving them passes? They asked for the Warriors. You remember Clint Capella, he goes to the podium. Oh, this is what we want. Daryl Morey come out publicly. Oh, we built this team to beat the Warriors. You have yet to do so. So now you have to go to the drawing board. Is it the players or is it the system?
And you don't want to waste a lot more time of James Harden's career.
Absolutely.
You don't want James Harden to become the next Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, you know what I'm saying, Karl Malone.
Yeah.
He is a guy who should compete for a championship in his career, and Harden is going to get older. So you're right, I understand that.
I agree.
And look, James Harden said he knows what they need to do this summer. He just didn't tell people what they should do.
Whoa,
So maybe he's thinking the exact same thing you're thinking.
I don't know, but he left me like, with the
Well,
emotion.
okay.
Yeah.
So how much blame do you think James Harden deserves?
I don't think he deserves a lot because for the simple fact, if you look at Game 5 in that series, they trapped James in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, at the end of the day, he was making the right plays and right passes. Guys wasn't giving him nothing. You can't expect him to go for 50 and 60 points against the Golden State Warriors.
Some people say, though, this series was lost in Game 5.
It was. I was one of them that said that.
Yeah.
They should have capitalized. Most of the time, whoever win Game 5s win the series.
Well, they are 1-2-3 Cancun. One of these two teams will be doing that. We'll be back with you guys in just a bit. We'll give you a quick break now because you guys are watching Hoop Streams live here on Twitter, YouTube, and the ESPN app, getting you set for Game 7 of Blazers Nuggets in Denver at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. You see, we're expanding. We're on the YouTube. We're on the app. It's all love right now as we have one of the greatest of all times, if not the greatest of all time. The one and only Doris Burke joins us on this Mother's Day, the proud mother of two.
Yes.
Yes, Matthew and Sarah.
So you know my son did? He's a golf professional, so he's got to be into work at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's 3 o'clock. I'm like, son, You're waking me up at a ridiculous hour here.
Yeah, it's a
But
thought
it was
that counts.
nice. It was nice.
At least it was the first
Very
thing he
nice.
thought about.
No
So
doubt.
happy Mother's Day
Thank
to you.
You too on
Thank
your
you.
very first
Thank you.
Mother's Day.
Thank you.
It's the most special one, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will get back to her later tonight. I don't know if she'll be awake, but I'll give her a kiss before I go to bed. Lot to get to here. She's doing sidelines, but you were the analyst for that epic 4 overtime game in Game 3. How has this series, in your mind, evolved since that point?
Well, I think what's fascinating and what I had so much respect for was Denver's ability to be resilient and come back from that and then go ahead and win Game 4 to even the series. What I think we've learned about Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray is I don't think that they will be bowed in a Game 7 based on their previous responses against the San Antonio Spurs, winning Game 4. I think you've seen enough of the character of both men to know that they will not be bothered at all. I also know this is Damian Lillard's first Game 7, and
which is crazy to think about.
He won't blink.
No.
You know, what happens though? Do Damian and CJ combine for about 55, 60 points? How much pressure does that put on the Nuggets? What happens with Rodney Hood in this series? Does Denver change at all, knowing how impactful this man has been? Do you start to change at all on the defensive end, maybe give him a little more attention, maybe try to make him put it on the deck and become a passer? Fascinated to see what Mike Malone has in store there.
Yeah, and he really, I mean, the emergence he has had in this series. He's been their third option, really, for this Blazers team, which has been a big question mark for their overall success.
What a redemption story.
Yeah.
I mean, any of us can relate with losing our confidence, not having a great opportunity in Cleveland, or maybe not being able to meet the opportunity in Utah to fill in for Gordon Hayward, or to be the guy that supported LeBron. To go from the lowest point you are professionally to now being in a Game 7, all of us can relate to that. I've lost my confidence at times. You've probably lost yours. So this is kind of a cool story for me, for Rodney. And can he kind of build on it here in Game 7? We'll see.
Obviously, Doris is going to be covering the Western Conference Finals and her epic post-game interviews, as well as the trophy ceremony and the finals. But on this road, we know the Warriors are waiting for one of these teams.
Yes.
Kendrick Perkins and Peter both said that they think the Nuggets match up better with the Warriors. Who, in your opinion, do you feel matches up better?
I don't know. Damian Lillard loves the opportunity to play against Steph Curry. They're probably right. I think the Denver bench all season has been a part of their story. The playoffs have been a different deal. And I think to beat the Golden State Warriors, you would need all of that in your arsenal. So I'm curious to see how the bench of Denver plays. Does Mike give them a longer leash or a shorter leash because it's Game 7 today? That's a great point. They probably do match up better. And I think here's the cool part of what's going to happen today. Nikola Jokic, I think you could make the case, other than Kevin Durant, he has been the best player in the playoffs, right?
That's what Paul Pierce said as well.
Okay, so this means that the rest of the country, some casual NBA fans, would be introduced to a young, budding superstar. However, Damian Lillard is probably not as well known amongst the casual NBA fans as he should be. We're talking about one of the baddest, most clutch guards in the league, one of the most dangerous shooters. So to me, listen, either way, I'll be thrilled at who we get.
Well, you can check it out, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Doris will be manning the sidelines.
You're the best, baby.
You're the best, DB. Thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day. Again, you're watching Hoop Streams here live on Twitter. You can find these next guys who are joining Hoop Streams right now all over ESPN and covering the league. And we bring you a segment we call On the Beats with Royce Young and Ohm Young-Masuk. As Ohm has been covering the Nuggets since the playoffs began, and Royce has taken over the Blazers since they really eliminated the Thunder as well. So, look, we got a fancy front end for you guys. Do you guys use those recorders anymore, or is it all phones? It's all phones. It's all phones. But I appreciate.
And Nikola Jokic is still learning that, by the way, because when he sits at the table, besides fighting with the microphone, in case America doesn't know, when he sits down at the press conferences, he needs to pull the microphone out of the little stand, and he struggles, and he's broken a few mics.
That's been one of the best moments.
And then he's got to put it back in, but he sees a phone, and he'll be like, what? somebody left the phone here. Why is it here? And it's so funny. And then the other day, he took my phone. And then he's walking out and he goes, "What? This isn't my phone." And then he tossed the phone onto the table.
I mean, he is quite a character. And you sat down with him just recently. Like, what would you say it was one of the best things that you've learned about this budding star?
Okay, so everybody has a problem with his weight and his size. They think he's overweight. And so I asked him about that. He wants to play at this current weight of 285. He's been 250 pounds and he's been slimmer. And the strength and conditioning program, since he came to the United States, has been working on his body and his muscle mass. But he wants to play this weight because he feels like he gets pushed around too much when he's 250. And I believe him, because on his arms, he has scratches all over as if he has a cat that just scratches him nonstop. I said, "What's going on there?" And he goes, "Oh, it's every game all season long." I said, "Don't these guys trim their fingernails?" He goes, "We're going to have a talk." He goes, "But next year I am wearing sleeves 100%.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sleeve, if he goes off, sleeve Jokic could be the next
look at his
untucked Kyrie.
Every game, he looks like he is being punched in the arm.
And this has been a physical series, so I expect a little more scratches today. And look, Royce, you have a piece right now on ESPN.com talking about how a Dame lives for these kind of moments, even though he hasn't been in a Game 7 before, which is pretty unbelievable as I get hit by a basketball. What more can you tell us about his mindset heading into this game?
Well, one of the things that he's really trying to do, Cassidy, is not overemphasize the fact that it is a Game 7. He's never played in one before, which is kind of surprising for a guy that has so many iconic moments.
Yeah.
That it's never happened in a Game 7, but he's really not trying to elevate this game more than it is anything more than just a basketball game. But look, Damian Lillard spent all season long telling people that he knows he wants to go to the Western Conference Finals. That's his goal. That's the franchise's goal. They haven't been to the conference finals since 2000. After what's happened to this team in the past 2 postseasons, for them to take this next step is a massive goal. So he can talk about it's just a Game 7, it's just a basketball game. There's an extra element of pressure there, and Lillard really wants to propel his team somewhere they haven't been.
And I was just talking with Doris about the emergence of Rodney Hood and conversations that you've had with him and you've seen him post game. This has been an emotional series for him.
Yeah, this means a lot to him, Cassidy. And we're talking about a guy, not just was he out of the rotation with the Cavs last year, he really had his reputation slandered. I mean, there was a story that came out that he refused to go in the game. He denies that story in a playoff game. But for him personally, to go from the situation that he was in last year as kind of a punchline player, a guy that came in and couldn't hold up to the playoff intensity, couldn't help LeBron James out. Now you got Michael Malone calling him the MVP of this series. And so he's resurrected his career. He's still a young player. He's only 25 years old. But he sat on the podium after that big Game 3, the quadruple overtime game, and he was starting to get a little emotional talking about how much this means to him.
This is how much it's changed the narrative on Rodney Hood. Michael Malone said the Blazer he's concerned with entering Game 7, Rodney Hood, because they can't hide Jamal Murray on Lillard or McCollum, and now Rodney Hood is making it a problem.
Right, and you know what? You've seen the meme. LeBron sitting at home looking at these Rodney Hood games, being like. and speaking of LeBron, big news obviously with the Lakers.
Yes.
We know you're on the Lakers beat as well. Frank Vogel agreeing to become the next head coach. What more can you tell us about how this decision came about?
Well, so look, once talks disintegrated with Ty Lue, and what the Lakers had wanted then was really going to be Ty Lue, Frank Vogel is his #1 assistant, Jason Kidd is the #2. Which would have been quite a thing to see, okay? Because Jason Kidd got an interview as a head coach, but only interview with Kurt Rambis and Rob Pelinka. He did not get a second interview. Whatever happened in that interview, they really liked what they heard, especially about the development of Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram. So they wanted Jason Kidd on the staff, whoever would have been the head coach, because he checks off a couple boxes. One, he has respect to LeBron James because they're Team USA teammates. And 2, they think he can develop the young kids because they saw what he did in Milwaukee with Giannis and some of the other young guys. So,
once 3, he could be an interim coach.
But that's exactly right, Royce. How much this is just not just blatant that he's the coach in waiting?
I think Jason, it's funny because he could have waited out for another job, but I think he really believed this is going to be his path. If he does well and the young guys do well, well then maybe he writes his ticket to the next job next year. But of course, he doesn't have a relationship with Frank Vogel. They just literally talked yesterday, and they're learning one another.
Wow.
They have people that they know together that are in common, but they spent time on the phone trying to get to know each other yesterday too.
Enjoy more drama in LA tomorrow. Next year. Yes, exactly. Game of Thrones is right. Happy Game of Thrones Sunday. Thank you to you both. Enjoy the game and
happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Thank you. On ESPN.com. This is Hoop Streams again, coming to you live on Twitter, YouTube, and the ESPN app. Getting you set for Game 7, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Leading into NBA Countdown at 3 o'clock on ABC. But this isn't the only Game 7 to get excited about. Everything is on the line north of the border as well.
Everything is just zoomed in. It's just raw.
I expected this to be a great series, so I'm not all that surprised that we're here. We just got to prepare and go play.
We're all excited. We're all anxious to play. We have to bring our own energy.
Our fans, we need them to be there early, loud, and I'm talking about, be obnoxious.
I don't care about the fans. Man, I'm just trying to win the game.
Game 7s are what you play for, what you work for. Go out there, guns a-blazing, and play hard, and win or win.
I mean, that series has been wild. Blowout one way, blowout the other way.
Yes.
I mean, this has actually been a lot chippier than that one, but it's still been, just I can't put my finger on that series.
And you would expect any series that involves Philadelphia to be the most chippy series.
No.
But this one elevated, and I wonder, Perk, if it works to the advantage of Portland now that it has gotten chippy, because that's when they really got to the next level against OKC.
Absolutely.
Was when things got a little hostile.
But let's talk a little bit about the Sixers and Raptors. Who do you guys got first in this Game 7 tonight?
So for Game 7, Toronto at home.
Yep.
I'm going with Toronto because of experience.
Okay.
You got Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi Jordan.
Oh. What?
He's been that way recently.
Yes, who's Finals MVP. You got Danny Green.
That's a whole lot of respect on that name.
You got Danny Green, who's a champion. You got Marcus Gasol, Serge Ibaka, and Kyle Lowry, who's been through multiple playoff games and playoff battles. They're battle tested. They're at home. I got the Raptors.
I'll put it this way. If Philadelphia wins a Game 7 in Toronto, it elevates them as a franchise, and they are at a further level than I thought they were even at. It's such an uphill battle to win in Toronto today.
So, okay, you obviously just gave Kawhi Leonard the highest praise, but if you had to choose one of these players, Joel Embiid or Kawhi, on your team right now, who would you go with?
I'm going with Kawhi.
All day, every day.
All day.
What's the gap? Is it a big gap?
Yes, it's a big gap because Kawhi is disciplined. He's more professional, and I got to roll with a guy that I know I could depend on every single night.
Well, and you could argue. I mean, Embiid is incredible. I don't think we've ever seen a big man quite like him.
Yeah.
But you could argue he hasn't been the best player on his team in this series.
Jimmy Butler.
That's Jimmy Butler.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
and this and Game 7 is tailor-made for a guy like Jimmy Butler. I will say, probably the best guy in the East is still sitting pretty, chilling. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Who is better suited to beat the Bucks between the Sixers and Raptors?
Well, I think Toronto. Toronto has, because they have multiple guys. They have guys that could guard Giannis. Well, try to guard him at least. You have Kawhi, you have Danny Green, you have Siakam. You can even put Serge Ibaka on them. So they actually have the length, the experience, and they have grown men to match his physicality.
Well, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals is not until Wednesday. So let's get back to this game, as you were mentioning, and just the chippiness between these two. And let's get into chirping, all the chirping that's been going on. In Game 6 on Thursday, while Burke was asleep, things got real chippy between Seth Curry and Will Barton. As a result, this is what Curry had to say about Barton.
He waited for a few people to get in between us, and a few people in between us, he put his finger in my eye. You know what I'm saying? I can't be loud when people put their fingers in my eye. That's real sassy. You know what I'm saying? We got a few sassy dudes over there, front runners, and you can't allow it.
Let me repeat, that's real sassy. They got a few sassy dudes over there.
Oh.
Perk.
Oh.
Your reaction reaction to Curry's description?
That was very disrespectful, Seth. Usually when you say the word sassy, you don't call a man sassy or grown men sassy. Usually that phrase is pointed to women. So that was very disrespectful.
Yeah, there was some intention there, and to me, I love it. We're getting
it was
late.
like almost the perfect word, though.
We're getting deep in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's time for physicality.
Right,
it's time to see things
Absolutely.
happen. Not stupid where you lose players, but what happened at the end of that game wasn't over the top crazy. That was good old-fashioned, intense playoff basketball. And frankly, it's going to have this building extra crazy for this game because it happened.
I love it when they ruffle the feathers.
Yeah, right.
Why not?
I hope this entire game is sassy, quite frankly. Okay? I mean, and I want sassy to be the word of the rest of the playoffs. That's going to do it for us.
Now, we have to do something for you. It is Cassie's first Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Cassidy.
Call your mom if you haven't already, as Chiron says. We'll be back for game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. This was too sweet.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Thank you.
Mother's Day.
And happy Mother's Day to your beautiful wife.
Baby.
Yes, there we go. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Love you.
You have a card, too.
Oh, so sweet. Thank you.